afternoon. I'm Shawnee Au, and this is One News Now. Local chief executives have been moved up in the government's COVID-19 vaccine priority list. For more details, Maricel Halili joins us live from Mandaluyong City. Hi, Mase. What prompted this decision and which cluster will the mayors be in?
Hi, Sean. Actually, it was the request of the local government units to include them to the A1 category of the vaccination program. And this was approved by the members of the Interagency Task Force. And so Presidential spokesperson Harry Roque announced earlier that from now on, the government officials, or rather the local executives, the local government unit officials, will now be included or will now be categorized as the A1.5 when it comes to the vaccination program, meaning they will be included in the priority list regardless of the community quarantine classification of their local government units.
All right, Masay, we're almost at A4, and doesn't the A4 category already cover government frontliners? Does their being part of A1.5 mean they can actually go ahead and have themselves vaccinated ASAP?
That's right, Sean. Now they can easily go to the vaccination site or have their names registered as an A1. And so the health practitioners can vaccinate them anytime soon, because we haven't started yet on the vaccination of the A4 category. The target of the national government is to start with A4 probably sometime in June or July, when more vaccine brands will come in the country.
All right, and when we speak of local officials, Mase, are all of them qualified, or will it be dependent on the quarantine status of their cities and municipalities, meaning up to which level are included?
Based on the announcement of Secretary Roque earlier, the inclusion of local government officials on the A1.5 categories, regardless of the community quarantine classification of their area, for as long as they are considered as frontliners, meaning they are the ones imposing the protocols drafted by the Interagency Task Force in connection with the COVID-19, they can be qualified as A1.5.
All right, thanks for answering that, Masset. Let's move on now to the fire that hit the PGH over the weekend. Has there been any updates from the palace or other health authorities on how this will affect our healthcare capacity, as well as maybe other updates if you have them?
Earlier, Sean, Dr. Gab Legaspi of the Philippine General Hospital joined the Q&A, and Dr. Gab said that for today they have already informed the One Hospital Command Center that they will not accept any COVID patient at the PGH because they still need time to clean their wards because of the smoke. But he is confident that by tomorrow they can start accepting COVID patients once again.
All right, that's good to hear. Now, some online are lamenting how the UP had to ask for donations online. Is there any announcement now on from the government side on how help will be rolled out to help the health facility?
That's right, Sean. Secretary Roque said earlier that the funding of the PGH comes from the funds allotted to the University of the Philippines. But of course, prior to this incident, President Rodrigo Duterte, in one of his speeches, already announced that he is willing to allot 100 million pesos a month coming from the President's fund for the PGH, considering the huge responsibility of the said hospital. I understand that Dr. Gap said that they are receiving around 25 million a month from the President's fund, but the Malacanang assured them that if they need more funds to recover from this fire, the President is willing to give them the allocation.
All right, and lastly, Mase, it is another Monday. What can we expect from the President's public address tonight?
or probably we can expect a history class on the Talk to the People of President Duterte tonight. Well, just like what President Duterte said during his Talk to the People last week, he invited former Senator Juan Ponce Enrile to join the Talk to the People to address the issue on the West Philippine Sea. Secretary Roque said that the reason why they invited JPE is because he served the Department of National Defense for the longest time, so is very knowledgeable when it comes to the disputed area. So he is expected to discuss the territorial dispute as well as the Mutual Defense Treaty.
Thank you for that update. Stay safe. Maricel Halili reporting to us live from Mandaluyong City. And one health reform advocate says that the government should start vaccinating those in the A4 priority group. In an interview with Agenda, Dr. Anthony Leachon called on officials to study and understand the demographics. Leachon explained that not all elderly will be able to show up for the vaccinations. He added that we can use Sinovac shots if the COVAX facility does not permit the use of donated AstraZeneca jabs. The A4 vaccine priority group includes essential workers in transportation, construction, and food manufacturing, among others.
Pag open natin economy, 2 linggo lang, meron ng konting protection yung mga manggagawa natin.
We'll have more stories after this quick break. Stay with us. You're still watching One News Now. I'm Sean Yao. Senator Sherwin Gatchalian is calling on the IATF to start vaccinating those in the A4 priority group. These are essential workers in the fields of transportation, construction, and food manufacturing, and others. To discuss this further, we now have Senator Win himself over the phone. Good afternoon, Senator. Thanks for joining us today. On Twitter, you said that only 19% of senior citizens came in for vaccination in the city of Valenzuela. Is this the reason why you want to bump up all A4s?
Good afternoon, Sean, and good afternoon to our listeners. After vaccinating the A1, A2, A3 in Valenzuela, we simultaneously gathered statistics, and we found out that only 20% of our senior citizens are willing to be vaccinated. In fact, we even went to the extent of going house to house to give them their schedules so that they will know when to come and get their vaccination. But only 20% responded. The 80% actually said no. In fact, some of them even said that ang gusto nila ayuda, hindi bakuna. So vaccine hesitation is real, and it's becoming a problem in the rollout of vaccines in the local government units. So we cannot wait for the A2 and A3s to change their mind. So the proposal here is to bump up the A4s, because a lot of A4s are willing and ready to get their vaccines, and even open it up to the general public as soon as the A4s are completely vaccinated.
All right, there is logic in your suggestion, Senator. How about the IATF? Were they amenable to your recommendation? Did they say they would take it up, or has this been, or maybe already for discussion?
We are in constant communication with the IATF. In fact, in fairness to them, they've been very responsive to the vaccination rollout. If you remember last April, the A1st were only limited to very few sectors, but they opened it up to members of the media, members of the education sector, members of the government sector, and liberalized it basically to other sectors. So in that sense, we have already echoed, not only me, but also other senators have already echoed their sentiments towards expanding it immediately to A4s, and subsequently immediately to the general public.
All right, so what that means, Senator, is that there is supply available if you want to bump it up. How are
Correct.
we doing on matters of supply? Can you shed some light on that?
Correct. You're absolutely correct. There are a lot of supplies, and supplies are constantly coming right now. From our information, there are about 2 million doses in the warehouses right now, and there are 15 million more coming in from various sources, including COVAX and including the ones that we bought. So in the next few weeks, we'll have approximately about 70 to 20 million doses. But if we keep on waiting for the A2s and the A3s to change their minds, those vaccines run a risk of expiring, because some of the vaccines, for example, AstraZeneca, it's going to expire around June, sometime June. So with the present expiration date, we cannot wait for that. So in other words, we have to vaccinate as many as possible. And those who are willing, we have to immediately give it to them.
All right, and you already mentioned that some of your fellow senators are actually in agreement with the priority group or A4 priority group being moved up already. Now, as lawmakers, is there anything you can do beyond the recommendation?
Right now, what we are constantly doing is to communicate with the IATF, and General Galvez has been very, very accessible to the senators and very transparent in terms of the rollout, and we commend them for that. So the immediate action should be a revision of the policy allowing A4s to be vaccinated. And this is important, Sean. Let me emphasize that, because the local government units, the mayors, are listening to the IATF. They get their instructions from the IATF and the DOH. So if there are no clear instructions, the mayors will not move. And we all know that the rollout is in the hands of the mayors.
All right, thank you for explaining that very clearly. Now, I'm guessing you are in favor of the government's move to include local government officials, including governors, mayors, in the A1.5 priority group for vaccination.
Yes, definitely. And that's a lot of people, Sean. We're talking about 1,600 local government units. And definitely at this point, and we've seen it for the past few months already, that these local government units, especially the local chief executives, are in the front lines, meaning they're the ones going out, they're the ones arranging all of these things, the vaccination, the other protocols. So it's really just reasonable and right to put them at the priority list.
Thank you as usual for your time, Senator Sherwin Gatchalian on the phone.
Thank you, Sean.
For more updates, visit News 5, The Philippine Star, and Business World online. Visit our website, onenews.ph, for more in-depth analysis. You can also catch One News on the Signal Play app. Register for a free account at www.signalplay.com and stream One News live anytime, anywhere. Mask on, wash hands, and stay safe, Philippines. I'm Sean Yao. We are One News.